Yes, it's Bang Radio, businessandnevergame.com. Your boy Klepto in the building. I got Random here with me.
Yeah.
So like I said earlier, it's been trending that there's a girl on the internet that goes by the name of Gizzy that was infected with HIV from an ex-boyfriend who said nothing, who didn't let her know up front. And she recently put out a Facebook page exposing who the person is and telling her story. And I was actually able to get in touch with her. And I got her on the phone. Hey, Gizzy, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
We're good. We're good. So, what started? What was the motivation that made you want to start this page to I don't want to say expose, but to kind of bring light to the whole subject? Tell me where your story started.
Well, the page is actually about 2 years old now. It's just recently it's been getting a lot more attention. I was diagnosed in January 2013, so a little over 3 years now. And the first year after finding out my diagnosis, you know, a lot goes through your mind. I wasn't stable at all. I was in a really bad place. And a little after the 1 year anniversary, you know, I decided I wanted to actually seek support from other women living with HIV. I couldn't find any support groups in San Francisco, which is where I live. And speaking to a friend, he has a nonprofit, and he started his nonprofit on Facebook, so he suggested that I start a Facebook page. And that's when Gizzy's story was born. The initial thought behind it really wasn't about exposing my ex. It was more about kind of like an online journal. I just wanted to kind of share my feelings and talk about what it's like living with HIV, try to educate those that care to listen, and hopefully be able to get in touch with other women going through what I'm going through. So that was the initial thought behind Gizzy's story. And, you know, with time as the page kind of grew, people started asking, you know, who is this guy? You say he's still out there exposing people. Don't you think you should tell us who he is so we know who to look for? And, you know, I knew he was still out there exposing people because women were calling me saying, hey, you know, we heard this rumor that you have HIV. We understand you dated him. And then I realized, you know what? Had his ex-wife warned me that he is HIV positive, I wouldn't be in the situation I'm in now. So I felt like I needed to warn other people as well so that they can make the conscious, since he doesn't give people the option, so that people can make the option or the choice for themselves whether or not they want to sleep with him. So that's why after I decided to show his picture.
Right, fair story. Now you say if I read the some of the information right, he was born with HIV.
He was born with it. I didn't know until, thanks to Gizzy's story, his cousin, who I did meet in New York when I went for his dad's funeral, she was the one that reached out to me and told me. When her and I met, she thought I knew. I guess he told his family that I knew that he was positive and I was okay with it. So a lot of his family, from what his cousin told me, thought that I myself maybe had HIV and that's why I was okay with dating him. I had no idea that I didn't know. He also told me that his mom and sister had died in an auto accident when he was 5 years old, but they actually both died of AIDS when he was 5 years old.
Oh wow. Yeah, so once again, like I'm definitely I feel for you. You're a very strong person to come out with all this information.
Yeah.
Now, what do you feel about any repercussions that might come back from exposing him? Like, can you do that legally? Even though I agree with you, I feel like the world should know who this person is who's going around giving HIV to people knowingly. But how do you feel like you're going to get any backlash from it?
I mean, I get backlash from people, but as far as legally, no. You know, I've been battling with the DA here in San Francisco to get him prosecuted, and unfortunately, because of the way the law is written in California, I was not able to, so he did get away with knowingly affecting me. And every time I met with a detective or the DA, whomever, I would ask, can I legally get in trouble? And they would all say, like, we backed you up for what you're doing. So as far as like us arresting you, no. He's like, now, can he sue you? He can, but he has to prove that I'm lying. He can try to sue me for slander, but in order for me to be sued for slander, I have to be lying. And he knows I'm not lying.
Right.
He did get a restraining order, he tried to have a judge get me to take down my page, and the judge didn't grant him that. The judge just said we can be in contact with each other, but the judge told him, I'm not going to make her take down her page. Like, I'm not doing that. So that's the most he's tried to do. He knows he can't sue me because he knows that if we go to court, I'm going to show and prove that he does have HIV and he did infect me. So, like, legally, there's nothing he can do.
Right. Now, looking at your page, it's on Facebook. It's a Gizzy story. If anybody wants to go check out the whole story on Facebook, I'm looking at some of the questions, and the most obvious questions are: did you ask him, or did you know? Did you get tested? Can you tell us about that?
I did ask him before we ever had sex. Had he been tested? Was he clean? I hate to use the word clean, but that's what I said, and he assured me that he was. And the first few times we had sex, we did use a condom, but you know, as the relationship progressed, I let my guard down. I think typical of most people, we do. And no, we didn't go get tested together. I took his word for it. I got tested. I did get really sick in December 2012. A lot of people ask me what the symptoms are when you become infected with HIV, and the most common symptoms is the worst flu ever. I had night sweats, fever, body ache, chill, my really bad sore throat. I didn't have a cough, but I had a sore throat. I was really weak, dehydrated. But the doctors never suspected it was HIV. I had just came back from New York, and it was snowing, and they just thought, you know, it's going to be a really bad flu season. What made me get tested was 2 days after Christmas 2012, I found emails where he was soliciting sex on Craigslist from other men. And that's what made me get tested. And that's when I found out, unfortunately, that I'm HIV positive. It was because of that.
Wow, that's terrible. I'm also reading through your page. You also have lupus.
Yeah.
Wow, so you're definitely going through a lot. Like I said, man, we support you and your story and everything you're going through. Now let me ask this. Let me ask this. Did you ever live with him?
Oh yeah, we lived together. He and I lived together. Like, we had a full-blown relationship. A lot of people tried to make it seem like I was just, you know, sleeping with him, and it wasn't serious. We shared an apartment together. We shared cars together. We were on each other's phone plans. We talked about marriage. We talked about babies.
Right.
We had what I thought was a serious relationship. Like, I thought this man was going to be my husband.
Right.
Like, you know, I was like, okay, this is it. Like, you know, we're going to get married. And he met my family. I met his family. We traveled together. So it wasn't like a random,
right,
you know, one-night stand type of thing. I wouldn't be sitting here making such a big deal about it if it was somebody I met at a club and decided to take home with me and have unprotected sex with, because, you know, a lot of people make it seem like I'm not taking responsibility for what I did, and I have. You know, I've said my only mistake was trusting him and not making him get tested.
Right.
But at the same time, he has the responsibility. Anyone with an STD has the responsibility to disclose to their sexual partner.
Right. Now, the reason I ask if you lived with him is because some people have commented, like, if you lived with him or you're dating him strong enough, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but to live with HIV, you have to take certain medications. You weren't aware of any medications that he was taking?
He has been on enough medication since he was 2 years old. He was in a really bad car accident last January, and I was told by, unfortunately, less than ethical nurses at the hospital that were treating him that he had full-blown AIDS.
Oh, wow.
He had never allowed me to go to the doctors with him, so I don't know if that's true or not. But what I do know is that he has been on enough medication since he was 2. I know that the virus, the strain that I carry, is resistant to a lot of medication because of him. Because what happens with someone with HIV, if we get on medication and then we suddenly stop for whatever reason, then that medication stops working. It's kind of like when you're on antibiotics and you don't finish the treatment, then it just kind of defeats the whole purpose. So when I met him, no, he wasn't taking any medication. So I had no idea, you know, and he does appear healthy. He does have the appearance of somebody healthy. So I never thought that, you know, hey, something could be wrong with him. It never crossed my mind.
Right. Wow. That it's crazy. It's so unfortunate that But you know, I guess the gift that comes out of it is that you're informing other people of what to do and how to be aware of this for the future. So we're glad you're giving back in that sense. Now, let's talk about moving forward to the future. Are you dating now? Do you have a significant other now?
No one serious. No. For me, it's been, I've dated, but I've also dealt with some rejection from, some guys. When I tell them that I'm positive, they're, they kind of give you the whole sympathy, I'm sorry, and, I hope you're taking your meds, blah, 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 and then never hear from them again. And it's fine, it does hurt a little bit because I wish people would understand that they're more at risk of getting HIV from someone who says they don't have it or someone who potentially don't even know their status and may be carrying it than they are from me, because I take my medication every day. I have an undetectable viral load. The chances of me infecting someone are reduced as much as 98%, 99%. It's almost impossible for me to honestly infect someone, especially because as it is, it's easier for a man to infect another man or a girl than it is for a woman to infect a man.
Right.
So, but I understand there's still a lot of fear. There's still a lot of lack of knowledge when it comes to HIV. So those that want to listen and take the time and want to get educated, I'm open for it. My sexual partners, they've asked, hey, can we ask your doctor certain things, and can we talk about it? And I'm totally open. I'm totally open to educating. But right now, I'm not dating no one serious now.
Right. Now, at what point in a relationship does that information come out? Like when you meet someone initially, after the first date or two, like when do you tell someone that?
It really depends on the person and kind of how we vibe. The last guy that I was getting to know, I told him like right after the first date. Just because, some people tell me, well, you should wait and let them get to know you better and maybe they won't be so afraid. But my thing is, sometimes you kind of know what you're down for and what you're not, right? Like me, for example, before I ever became infected, I used to always say, I don't want to date somebody with HIV because I've always been terrified of HIV. So had Randy told me that he was HIV positive, I'm just being honest, I wouldn't have dated him. So I like to treat others how I want to be treated. So I understand that some people, are okay with it and they don't mind it, and others are like, no, I would never date someone with HIV. So because of that, I'd rather tell people up front, and also it's in a way I'm being selfish because I'm protecting myself. Because what happens if I wait, like let's wait a few days into the relationship, a few months, and then I start developing feelings for this person, and then this person decides that they can't do it, they're not going to date me. Then I get hurt because I was probably building feelings and now I got rejected. So I typically tell people right away. And I think, obviously with my Facebook and now being on World Star Hip Hop and Media Takeout, it's going to be even more difficult for me not to say it right away.
Right, absolutely. Now, let me ask you, what led to the breakup? Was it because that he gave you the HIV that you guys broke up, or was it just a mutual breakup between you guys?
To be honest with you, no, it wasn't. A lot of people have criticized me because they're like, well, you stayed with him after he gave you HIV, and I did. And that's because few things. At first, I had no idea that he knew and he did it. I had my suspicions that he knew, but I didn't know for a fact. And I suspected that he knew because of his reaction. But I figured, you know what, we both have HIV. Like, we might as well try and make this work.
Right.
But the breakup came because, obviously, after me finding out that I'm positive, I was depressed, I was suicidal, I became a cutter, I was constantly crying. I was a mess. And he started going out more. He started not coming home. He started not answering my calls. He started not spending time with me. And he kept saying, because I was too depressed that he couldn't handle it. So eventually the cheating started. And that's when led to the breakup. I moved out. I got an apartment on my own back in San Francisco. He and I shared an apartment in Oakland, California. And I moved back to the city on my own. And that's why we broke up, because he was cheating. And I was like, I can't be with someone like that. And I was in counseling, I was in group support, and everyone kept telling me it's not the HIV that's going to kill you, it's going to be this man. Not only was he emotionally abusive, but he was also physically abusive. So I had to do what I could to get out of that situation. Right.
All right. So I'll give you an opportunity one more time just to let the world know what his name is and who to avoid, or at least who to ask questions. Go ahead. What was his name?
His name is Randy.
Randy. And is that all you're just saying, the first name, and the world should know by that, or?
I mean, I don't. My goal, to be honest with you, is not completely to put him on blast.
Right.
I don't want every platform to be about that. My ultimate goal is also to educate people and to see that there is life after HIV, that I live a normal, for the most part, healthy life, and that it's not the end of the world. So I don't want people to think that my whole Facebook is always about bashing him, because it's really not. But, if you guys Google Gizzy's story, you'll see his name everywhere. You'll see pictures, articles, and everything. So.
Right. I'm glad you said it that way, because it seems like a lot of people are thinking that your main goal is to expose him and tell other women or men in this case who to stay away from and expose him. So I'm glad you said that, because it's showing that that's not your long-term goal.
No, it's not at all.
So we are running a little short on time. Unfortunately, I got to you a little bit late. So in closing, what's your message to the rest of the young men and women out there that are either HIV positive or not HIV positive, that the word you want to spread?
For those that are positive, keep taking your medication. Let's support one another. Let's not bash each other, even if we don't agree with how we're handling things. And for those who aren't positive, just be aware that you can't judge a book by its cover. Use protection. I mean, I'm never going to tell you don't have sex. I mean, I'm not going to say that. I know people like to have sex. But I will say is use protection and be smart.
Right. All right. So there it is. You heard her story. Gizzy, I appreciate the phone call, and thank you very much. And I wish you continued success with spreading the word.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's Bang Radio, businessandnevergame.com. We're going to jump into some more music, and we'll be back in a little bit. It's Klepto and Random right here on Bang Radio, businessandnevergame.com. Let's go.